Assalamualaikum and hello to my beloved lecturers and friends. My name is Muhammad HAFIZ bin Muhammad PINI, and today our group will talk about the use of electrical equipment. Okay, without wasting our time, let me move to the table of contents. There are few parts that we talk about. Firstly, the introduction of the topics. Next, electric shock, and lastly, about the safety measure. Introduction. Electric equipment is a type of device that use electricity to power its internal components. That can be compared with typical mechanical system, which rely on various powers such as fuels or human physical strength. Some examples of electric equipment in the lab are electronic scale and microwave. Next, electrical contractors that are registered with Electrical and Mechanical Service Department shall do all electrical work, such as new installation, addition, alternation, inspection, testing and repair. Good electrical installation should have an effective earthing arrangement. And lastly, the main switch should be constructed to isolate the supply to all outlets in the laboratory. What is an effective earthing agreement? Let me see this video first.
Okay, so let me tell you how to make a proper electrical earthing. First, a 2 to 3 meter deep hole is dug in the ground. Then, a thick copper plate of the dimension 50 x 50 is placed in it. After that, this is welded to a thick copper rod. The plate is surrounded by a mixture of charcoal and salt to make good earth connection. Then, the copper rod is passed through a hollow insulating pipe. The plate is then buried in the ground. Next, the copper rod was connected to the house and we call it as earth. Electrical power from substation is supplied to the house through a live wire and a neutral wire. This is a schematic of an electrical circuit with an appliance in our house. Current with an appliance in the house. Here there is no earthing. The line fire carry currents from the source, example the battery, to the appliance, and the neutral wire carry it back to the battery. But in a faulty appliance, if the circuit come in contact with the metal body, it causes an electric shock to the person touching it. To prevent it, the metal casing is connected to the earth flyer. Now, if there is a fault in the appliance, the electric current flow from the metallic body into the ground or earth. This prevents electric shock to the person. In an electric plug, we have a live, a neutral and a earth connection. This made connection to the appliance. Okay, that's all for the electrical earthing.
So, how do you understand it now? Okay, let's move to the next slide. How electric shock can happen? An electric shock occurs when a person comes into contact with an electrical energy source. Electrical energy flow through a portion of the body and can cause a shock. So, what is the effect of electric shock? Electric energy exposure can cause severe harm. Any current greater than 0.01 ampere can cause severe shock, and any current greater than 0.03 ampere can cause irreversible damage or death. That's all for me, and I will pass to our next presenter.
Assalamualaikum and hello. I am Wan Muhammad Al-Hafiz and I will cover the safety measure of the plugs, adapters and extension units. Before we get into the safety measures, I will explain a bit about what are plugs, adapters and extension units after this. The plug. The plug is usually found on an electrical equipment. It is a little plastic object with 2 or 3 metal pins which fit in the holes of the socket and connect the equipment with the power source. The 3-pin plug consists of wires connected to it. The live wire is bound, which is connected to a fuse on the live pin. The electric current enters through the live wire. Then the neutral wire is blue, which is the way the electric current takes when it exits an appliance. Lastly, the earth wire is the green and yellow wire and is connected to the earth pin. This is used when the appliance has a metal casing to take any current away if the live wire comes in contact with the casing. Next, an adapter is a device that is used to connect two pieces of equipment which are not designed to be connected. The adapter is found to be used when the plug has different pins with the socket, especially if the equipment is made in different countries. Some examples of adapters are travel adapters and AC to DC adapters. Lastly, the extension unit. You all must be familiar with this thing. The extension unit is a power distribution unit made up of several sockets. We are able to plug in multiple pieces electrical equipment at once at the unit. Okay, now I'm going to explain the safety measure for the things that I explained before. Number 1. Use plugs with 3 pins that meet the safety standard. The plugs that we must use must have a cerium label on them. Number 2. Frayed cords, damaged insulation and broken plugs should never be used. Instead, buy a new one or call an expert to fix it. Number 3. Do not handle power adapters and plugs with wet hands. Electricity can conduct easily in water, which eventually causes shock when using it. Number 4. Always use adapters with the correct power output for your product. If not, it will result in product damage including short circuits, fires and electrocutions. Number 5. Before plugging appliance into an extension lead, be sure the current rating is suitable. Number 6. Never overload an extension unit by plugging in appliances that when combined will exceed the extension unit's maximum current rating. And lastly, do not connect multiple extension cords units together, which will overheat and will damage the insulation, causing fire in the end. That's all for me on my safety measure of plugs, adapters and extension units. Now I'm going to the next presenter, which is Hazmi.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi, my name is Muhammad Hazmi bin HASDI. I'm going to explain about electrical appliance. What is electrical appliance? Electrical appliance is a device, apparatus or equipment designed to perform a non-industrial application or task that benefit our personal life and make use of technology. Basically, electrical appliance is a machine that reduces the amount of effort required by a human to complete a specific task or work. So this is the example of electrical appliance. As we can see, there are television, food blender, washing machine, table fan and many more. Electrical appliances are for our convenience, which it makes our life easier and comfort. If an appliance does not use electrical power to function, it means we have to work harder and consume more time and effort. This is why we use electrical power to our most of the modern appliances. To make easier, whatever appliance that needs electrical to be functioning is an electrical appliance. Next, before and after we use the electrical appliance, we should know what is the safety measure to use electrical appliance to prevent any accident that can be harmful to us. Firstly, we need to switch off the electrical appliance before plugging in or plugging out of the power supply. Next, we need to turn off the power of electrical appliance before checking in or inspecting them. Do not operate, service and handle while the hand is wet. This is because the wet hand contain water which is good conductor of electricity. In addition, we must use any conducting tools when servicing or repairing electrical appliance. Any faulty appliance should be forbidden to use. Any repairable appliance need to be repaired immediately. Last but not least, any highly flammable solvent should not be used or stored near electrical appliance. Actually, these safety measures are basic safety that can be implemented to all electrical appliances. Every appliance have their own specific safety measure. For example, while using iron, you should pack iron and board after ironing. Kids or pet can be unpredictable. They might touch a hot surface of iron. So I hope everyone can find out the safety measure for specific electrical appliance by yourself before and after using it.
Hai, Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. My name is FAIZUDDIN bin RAHMAN and I will continue with the next topic, which is high voltage equipment. What is the high voltage? High voltage is a term that refers to any level of voltage that is high, over 300 volt and enough to inflict harm to living organism, particularly to human. Based on the rating of the International Electrical Commission (IEC), consider that high voltage to be more than 1500 volt for DC, or also known as direct current, and 1000 volt for AC, alternating current circuit. A high voltage can injure human when they has been exposed to electricity of a particularly high strength, and that high strength electricity flow throughout his or her body. The electrical current can damage skin, bones and internal organs, including the heart. Basically, the chance human to life after exposed to high voltage electrical was really small. Next is the example of high voltage equipment. These are the example of equipment that use high voltage to work. First is switchgear. Switchgear is a broad term that describes a wide variety of switching devices that are fulfill common needs like controlling, protecting, and isolating power system. Switchgear include fuse, switch, relay, isolator, circuit breaker, potential and current transformer, indicating device, and lightning arrestor. It used to protect electrical hardware from faulty condition. The voltage for this switchgear is from 5 kV to 38 kV. Second is relay panel. Relay panel is a panel that holds one or more relay that send power or signal to equipment based upon the input received. It consists of a set of input terminal for a single or multiple control signal and set of operating contact terminal. The switch may have any number of contacts in multiple contact forms such as MAC contact, break contact, or combination thereof. Maximum voltage can produce from this equipment is 250 volts. Third is power transformer. Power transformer are electrical instruments used in transmitting electrical power from one circuit to another without changing the frequency. They operate by the principle of electromagnetic induction. They are used in transmitting electrical power between generator and distribution primary circuit. The power transformer will produce the voltage between 4000 volt and 36,000 volts. Next is instrument transformer that are used to step down the transmission and distribution line voltage and current to level that can safely operate measuring instrument. Protection. device and control relay by isolating it from the supply voltage. The voltage used from this transformer is around 150 volts and 120 volts. Lastly is insulator. Insulators are used in electrical equipment to support and separate electrical conductor without allowing current through themselves, help in reducing the cost of energy, and help in saving the environment by controlling the emission of pollution. An insulting material used in bulk to wrap electrical cable or another equipment is called insulation. Insulator can produce voltage around 10 to 12 kilovolts. So, in prevent the injury happen to our body when using high voltage equipment, we need to take some safety measure when using high voltage equipment. First, we need to make sure that the floor in the equipment area is covered with effective insulting material like glass, porcelain, clay, quartz or aluminium. This material will prevent the water flow of current from the energized conductor or conducting parts. Electrical insulation play a vital role in every electrical system, and electrical insulator provide very high resistance so that particularly no current can flow through it. Second is use a suitable screen or barrier for protection against electrical shock. It should be provided whenever necessary to protect employees from shock, burns or another electrical related injuries while employers are working near exposed energized part which might be connected or where dangerous electrical heating or arcing may occur. Next is always connect the negative terminal to the earth terminal of an EHD power supply unless otherwise instructed to minimize the chance of a spark happen and prevent the fires. Last, it's always work in a group and not to be alone when use high voltage equipment.
Rubber mats should be laid and fire extinguisher should be provided in reach at main panel. For electrical fires, use CO2 and DCP fire extinguisher only. Don't take rest at electrical panels. To avoid damage and to avoid tripping, electrical cables should be laid from beneath the ground or from overhead. Never use power cables lying in rain or water.
Let me see what happened to someone who does not follow strict standard operating system SOP when handling electrical equipment. The incident that involving electrical operation, which is when a man was found dead in Kampung Semungkoi A, Serian, after being suspected that he was suffered an electrical shock and been trapped on the electrical transformers platform. Let me see this video first.
Sebelum ke tajuk utama kita ke laporan yang berikut, iaitu seorang lelaki ditemukan meninggal dunia selepas dipercayai terkena renjatan elektrik dan tersangkut di pelantar transformer elektrik di Kampung Semukoi A di Serian. Laporan diterima Balai Bomba dan Penyelamat BBP Serian pada jam 10.25 pagi Isnin. Dan menurut Komando Operasi daripada Balai Bomba dan Penyelamat BBP Serian, Christopher Tugo berkata, seramai 6 anggota dan sebuah jentera Fire Rescue Tender FRT dikejarkan ke tempat kejadian bagi menurunkan mangsa yang tersangkut. Bagaimanapun, sebelum menurunkan mangsa, pihak bomba menunggu kehadiran pihak Sarawak Energy Berhad atau SEB bagi memastikan keadaan selamat dan turut terlibat pihak polis serta 3 anggota daripada pihak Kementerian Kesihatan KKM. Mangsa disahkan meninggal dunia di tempat kejadian. Mayat mangsa diserahkan kepada pihak polis untuk tindakan lanjut.
According to the report, the fire department is awaiting the arrival of Sarawak Energy Berhad to check the victim is safe before touching him. This is because the victim of the electrical shock should be managed according to the strict SOPs. Next, I will pass to Hazmi.
Paul Egg is one of several police insiders blowing the whistle on high-level police corruption connected to the fatal fire. Rumours have long swirled about organised crime boss Abe Saffron's involvement.
Abe Saffron got 3 blokes to start the fire, create the fire.
Former New South Wales Police Licensing Squad Officer Steve Bullock is also breaking his silence.
I'm 100% sure. I believe that he instigated the fire.
Did other people in police agree with you or believe that too? The former officer's time justice is finally served. Caro Meldrum Hannah, ABC News.
Another incident involving electricity is the Sydney Ghost Train fire, which is occurred in Luna Park, Sydney in Milestone Point, New South Wales, Australia. This tragedy claimed that 6 children and 1 adult has been killed. This tragedy happened on 9 June 1979. Inadequate firefighting measure and low staffing caused the fire to completely destroy the amusement park ghost train. After the incident, the New South Wales Police investigate the incident and find out the electrical fault is the cause of the fire. Can you imagine how huge the impact of electricity can do to us? So please remember and remind to yourself and closest person to you to always be careful while doing something that involving in electricity.
Just now, me and my friends had already explained the safety measures of each of the electrical equipment and some electrical accident that had happened in our life. So now I'm going to continue on how to handle electrical accidents. This is important to ensure the victim's life can be saved and lower the injuries inflicted on the victim. So, firstly, you must call 999 or your local emergency number and don't get near the accident situation until the power is turned off. We should stay at least 20 feet, which is about 6 meters away from the accident to prevent any hazards such as electric sparks or energized conductors from reaching us. Next, we must observe the victim whether he or she is in contact with any source of electricity. Don't ever rush to the accident to prevent other tragedies from happening which could involve more victims in it. The victim may not be able to move due to muscle cramping, which any act of rescuing the victim may pose hazard to us. Ensure that our hands and feet are always dry. And next, stand on a dry, clean surface or a dry rubber blanket or other insulating material. Avoid standing near objects at the accident or any metal surface which could be energized due to the flow of electricity. And lastly, don't move a person with an electrical injury unless he or she is in immediate danger. We must examine carefully to determine whether he or she is safe to be moved. Now I'm going to pass to Faiz to continue with the points.
Why one person call 999 and summon a maintenance worker qualified for electrical works, other emergency responders should visually examine the victim to determine if he or she is in connect with energized conductor. Any active electrical circuit should be de-energized if possible. Once the power is off and it is safe to approach, if not, move the source away from you and the person using a dry, non-conductive object made of cardboard, plastic or worse. The victim should be checked to see if he or she can be safely moved. Begin CPR if the person shows no sign of circulation such as breathing, coughing or movement. First aid for a victim of an electrical accident may include CPR if the person is breathing and has no pulse. If the victim is bleeding and has a burn, first aid for shock and burns may be required until emergency medical help arrives. Try to prevent the injured person from becoming chill. Apply a bandage, cover any burn area with a bandage if available, or a clean cloth. Don't use a blanket or towel because loose fiber can stick to the burns.
To conclude, electric equipment must be handled carefully to prevent any accident happening to us. Electricity is incredibly useful and is found in almost every aspect of our daily life. Unfortunately, it can also be very dangerous if proper precautions are not followed. So, it is vital to everyone to understand the risk and the importance of following safety measures. The safety measure must be followed all the time and should not be taken lightly, as the incident would cause injuries and death if occurred. That's all from us. Thank you.